But it's time for Star Up, Star Down, and it is brought to you by Crown Royal, proud sponsor of the NFL. I'm Jake Riepma. He is the three-time Hall of Famer, Chris Arnold.
Got you down.
And there's a lot more. I've got a lot more star ups than I do star downs.
Oh, yeah.
And that's refreshing.
A good thing. That's a very good thing.
It is refreshing. And again, I think it's the same. You and I were both on post-game after the Cowboys' victory over the Commanders. It's the same thing. We're not going to let anyone steal our joy. It's the same mindset. But I'll kick it off, if you will, with a star up to Rico Dowdle. What a game he had for the Dallas Cowboys, establishing that run game. 22 carries, 112 yards, better than 5 yards a carry. Had a touchdown as well. And what I wrote down about this one, CA, the Dallas Cowboys had not had a 100-yard rusher since. When do you think the last time they had it?
I know, because I keep up. Tony Pollard in September 2023, and it was like 25 straight games without 100 yards rushing.
A long time. Tony Pollard was the last one. I've got it in November of 2022, but
it was 25 games.
Yeah, it has been
22.
Long time. But and when you look at this game again, like I said, I went back and watched it. A rushing attack, and it's football cliche, and we all know that, but it just works wonders for the rest of the offense to be multidimensional for the opposition, forcing them to have to defend the run, and just goes so far in setting a tone for the game. And I thought they were effective early and often with Rico, and for him to continue to be that workhorse that's toting the rock on a consistent basis was really refreshing to see.
Yeah, it was really nice to see it again. That's when you decide to have somebody be the feature back. They're doing this running back by committee. A running back has to find a groove. And if you're taking them out, not only every different series, but in the middle of some series, I don't care who the running back's supposed to be, you can't get a groove. And by the way, my star up was the star of the game, who said we were groovy out there. We were feeling groovy. And that would be DeMarvion Overshown.
Yes, sir.
Man, the UT product just showed out. And the biggest thing he did was in the second quarter. He had two takeaways. Second quarter, he had a pick six. First of all, he batted up a pass, and then he chased it down, caught it, and ran it in all in stride. 23-yard touchdown. He was mobbed in the locker room after the game, not first by his teammates, and then by the media. And he was so much fun to talk to, and we're going to hear from him and Rico as well the next segment. But DeMarvion Overshown, the next thing he do, recovered a fumble. What I'm loving right now, and I was talking to those guys about it, is this defense is also finally getting takeaways. That was a staple of a Dan Quinn defense, but they were learning the Mike Zimmer defense, and it took away a lot of their takeaway ability. Bottom line is they're comfortable now. Things are getting done, and again, he just showed out.
Yeah, when you have a defense that a part of their DNA is forcing turnovers, it's like it's a Band-Aid that can cover up some other shortcomings, because it changes the dynamics of the game so quickly. And that individual effort and athleticism from Overshown on that play, I went back and watched it, and I cracked up at both Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady, just in awe. And if
Brady's in awe.
Yeah, I'm so impressed. But Burkhardt is so impressed on the call, his voice cracks.
Wow.
As he said he's gonna score, and he goes into the end zone.
It was like fluid. The whole thing. And by the way, he said that was the first pick six of his whole life, high school, college, or pro.
That's awesome.
Also everybody was so happy for him.
Yeah, you gotta love that. I'll go a star up for Micah Parsons, who had two sacks. And what's interesting now that he's back, and nobody is ever fully healthy at this point in an NFL season, but looking certainly more like himself, and the overcoming the injuries from earlier in the season. But the Cowboys defense with Micah Parsons in the lineup, an estimated yards per play 0.024 play per, then that's per Football Focus, in comparison to when he's not in the lineup. He just adds so much value to that defense and how he can impact the game.
From all over. They line him up all over the place. They even have him play a little one technique, three technique. It's funny the way they move him around. And ironically, I got to give another star up, because this guy never gets a star up. One of Micah's sacks was a half a sack because the other guy helping him sack the quarterback was Mozzie. Mozzie finally got, put it like this. I'm looking at all these different statistics and different people writing articles about the statistics in the game. They're like, quiet as it's kept. Y'all won't believe this. But now 3 straight games, Mozzie's been effective. He's learning how to play. And all of a sudden, if you look at it, he had like this high rating in his analytics on what he was doing and pressuring the quarterback, and he got him a half a sack with Micah. He's figuring things out. So congratulations to Mozzie. He gets a star.
I put that on my star up as well because he reestablishes the line of scrimmage.
Yes,
and
that's all they need.
A lot of times in that particular position, you're casually watching the game. That might not necessarily show up to the naked eye, but you go back and Pro Football Focus is great with this, and their official grades will come out later today at noon Eastern. But he was initially the highest graded player on that Cowboys defense yesterday, which speaks volumes to what he was able to do. And again, especially a guy that had been under a lot of criticism.
I mean, and deservedly slow.
Yes, right.
One thing about Mozzie is when they drafted him, it was like, oh boy, they were blaming him from the school he came from because we had Taco Charlton and unsuccessful defensive players from that school.
Oh, don't I know? Yeah. The old University of Michigan covered them for several years.
And so here's Mozzie, very, very strong kid, very nice guy. And I'm like, I don't know why it's not clicking. I think he was just getting by on national ability with Michigan. But another guy who deserves a star up, it was the return of Brandon Cooks. And Brandon Cooks gets a star up because not only did he score a touchdown, but he helped stretch the field a little bit for Cooper Rush. And the Dallas Cowboys got on the scoreboard in the second half of this touchdown. In the third quarter, it was like the first time in the third quarter they scored a touchdown this season.
And I had him on my list as well, the dagger catch on that late in the game on that third down conversion.
Yes, that saved the game because otherwise you would have had the adventure of the Giants getting the ball with 2 minutes left to play.
Yeah, the old Drew Lock magic. Who knows what could have happened.
And by the way, I have to say this, not to give the Giants any stars up, but I promise you, and I was talking to John Machado with The Athletic about this, Drew Lock was more of a problem than Tommy Cutlets would have been. Tommy Cutlets would have been, because he's limited. Here's Drew Lock actually like, wait a minute, he's third string, but he can extend plays with his legs. Look at this guy. He's getting things done.
I had that in my what we learned notes about the Giants is Drew Lock gives you a much better chance to win than Tommy Coltcuts.
Yes.
There is no doubt about that. All right, a couple more star-ups because there were more star-ups than star-downs. There's no doubt about that. Eric Kendricks, 2 stops, sack, forced fumble. And we talked about the importance of those takeaways and overshown credit to him for recovering that fumble. But you look at how Kendricks punched it out.
Punched it out.
That's playing aggressive. It's forcing the issue and part of what had been lacking from this defense early on in the season.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Dan Quinn was always preaching is the takeaway, but it left a lot of the players exposed on against the run. And so here's Zimmer. I'm here to stop the run. And he has a whole different style where they have to think more as opposed to just go after the ball and haul ass or whatever you need to do. So, again, props to Eric Kendricks. And by the way, you can hear him on G-Bag every week. He is part of their player show during the Cowboys season. My star up, another star up to keep an eye on, KaVontae Turpin. KaVontae Turpin actually was used as a wide receiver and not just the guy to do the kickoff returns and punt returns and every now and then do a reverse. They actually threw the ball to him. We didn't see the slant like we saw a couple of weeks ago where he ran it in for a touchdown. And I was talking to him after the game about them using him even more. I think he had like 50-something yards worth of receptions. Bottom line was they found a way to get him the ball, and if Cooper Rush hadn't overthrown him in the end zone, he would have had a touchdown too.
Yeah, 4 receptions for 53 yards, better than 13 yards a carry. He just puts so much pressure on the opposition because of his natural ability and speed.
You know what he said? Tyreek who? Y'all must have forgot.
That's right. Because I love those next-gen stats where you're seeing the actual miles per hour that guys get up to, and he's been the fastest guy.
And by the way, shout out to TCU because that's where he's from.
Yeah, there you go.
And also, he's from New Orleans. He's got the thickest Cajun accent.
You
think Coach O got to go Tigers. He didn't even go to LSU, but he's from New Orleans, and he's got the thickest New Orleans accent. We're going to hear from him next segment anyway.
There we go. You got to love that. Okay, a couple of star downs. We won't spend as much time. And this one, and I'm not sure if you'll agree with me on this one, CA, and it's not the harsh pounding the table star down. It's just a noticeable observation that
just a finger point.
Yeah,
you're not beating the table. It's just a finger. Right. Hey, you.
Yeah,
straighten that up a little.
Yeah, CeeDee just wasn't himself. The
shoulder,
3 drops, and
shoulder.
I was just gonna say you attribute it to he's banged up.
He is so banged up. In the locker room, I was talking to him, and he was just so down. And on the sideline at one point, he started doing push-ups to kind of stretch his shoulder out a little bit. He says he has never been this banged up in his career, and he was talking about that during the week. I had him as a player profile interview earlier in the show, or earlier before the game, the pregame show. And I mean, he was really hoping to have a bigger impact, but I swear to God, 3 drops. He had only had like 4 drops all of last year. I mean, he didn't drop the ball. He used to when he was a rookie, because he and Dak had to get on the same page. He had been on the same page with Cooper Rush these previous games, but man, he just did not have a good game.
Yeah, let's hope just the
he
way.
Had how many? 30 yards?
CeeDee, as far as the receptions and yardage are concerned.
Yeah, 30-something yards.
I got 39 yards on 2 catches. Let's hope. I was going to add that just the way the schedule falls now, and you've got a couple of extra days, and then additionally, you're playing on Monday Night Football next instead of the Sunday. So even one extra day there.
That's 10 days. Here's what's so wild. They played 3 games in 10 days, last night or yesterday afternoon against the Giants. Then you had the Monday night game in Washington, and then the game before that, they lost to Philadelphia. Put it like this. That's 3 games in 10 days. Now they have 10 days off to heal. And they got a couple of easy games on the schedule, so to speak. Put it like this. Under 500, but they're under 500 themselves.
That's right.
Not that they're going anywhere, but I'm still here to watch tape and see who you want to keep. I want to see who's going to make the business decisions. They're a very jovial locker room. They're very excited. So just put it like this.
They're competitors, man. That's what
not that they're going to the playoffs, but I want to see some. I'm not mad at them if they win a game or 2.
Absolutely,
I'm not mad at it.
Absolutely. Time for a couple more. The last one, and for me, anyways, the star down. It's just an unfortunate reality of the sport, and we talked about this before we went on the air, but these Thursday games, it yields this often. You saw it in the Lions-Bears game, but all of the injuries, and you feel terrible for Wanye Thomas and Josh Butler, and that's not a star down on performance, but just the harsh reality of the sport and of the health.
Yeah, actually, it's a star down on the schedule.
Yeah,
because you called it out. Thursday games, anything can happen, especially with the injuries and short turnarounds and whatnot, and you're just trying to stay healthy, but at the same time, that was part of the harsh reality, and they brought out the stretcher a couple of times, and it was like, oh, man. But, it is what it is. I don't have any other star downs. I have no other complaints.
That's the sign
I can't even blame the coaches for bad play call. They call some really good plays.
Yeah, overall star up, winning the turnover battle, both the defense forcing 2 turnovers and the offense playing clean and
I can't even say anybody in the offensive line has star down, because guess what? Cooper Rush didn't get sacked.
Yeah, kept him upright.
And Rico had 100 yards.
Yep.
It's, offensive line, the Band-Aid stricken offensive line who was banged up. Tyler Gatton went down with an injury himself. They held down the fort.
Yep. Yeah, I think we just got to get the Giants on the schedule more often.
Oh yeah, a team with 2 wins. But guess what? You got Cincinnati, who's dangerous. Got the same record as the Cowboys, dangerous, and then you got Carolina right behind that. They're not as dangerous. They're not that good. So who knows? They might play effectively against those 2 teams.